A very warm welcome to the program. My name is Anthony Sebale. You're still watching Smart 24 and you're watching financial markets. And of course, we are here to take you through what the financial market has for you right now this morning, and in particular the stock market as well as the money markets on this very Thursday, the 30th of June. Of course, you can follow our conversations here on Twitter at Smart24. You can leave a comment, or you can actually leave us a question if at all you have any questions that you would want experts to answer or ourselves to give answers to. You can always leave them in the comment section on our YouTube channel as well at Smart24 TV. We are Smart24 and we drive your business, and you're most welcome to the program. Now let's have a look at the stock markets right away. Yesterday, the 29th of June, by the close of the market, the all-share index for the Uganda Securities Exchange had dropped by about 3.2 points and 0.28%. And it ended with about 7 gainers and only 1 loser. Not a very bad day for the market. In the aggregate, the Uganda Security Exchange listed equities participated in trading, ending with 7 gainers and just 1 loser. I think a beautiful day, if I can say, for the investors there, and especially people who have invested in, for example, Centum, Equity Bank, National Media Group, the Jubilee Holdings and East African Breweries, as well as KCB. All the cross-listed companies had an appreciation in their prices on the stock market. Unlike the index, which lost in points, but the companies here gained. Now, the Uganda Stock Exchange, I would like to remind you, was of course incorporated in the 1997 as a company limited by guarantee without a share capital, and is the principal stock exchange of Uganda, and it was established as a result of government's policy of transforming the country's economy from a public to that of a private sector basis. If you remember, back then in 1997, government was trying to kind of publicize companies, especially those that were owned by government, such as Umeme, back then called the Uganda Electricity Board, and several other companies that became known as parastatals, which is partly owned by government and partly owned by the private sector. And in that same year, the Uganda Security Exchange started offering the Ugandan public a market onto which they could trade securities, and in particular equities of the listed companies, where buyers and sellers of securities like the stocks and shares, as well as the treasury bonds and bills, could access their securities and be able to trade seamlessly on the stock market. Now, that is briefly how the Uganda Security Exchange was inaugurated, and it started with very few companies, but currently over 18 companies are listed, and we have 10 of those listed companies locally available here, domestic companies in Uganda, and then 8 are cross-listed, especially from the Kenyan market, that is the Nairobi Stock Exchange. As an alternative source of investment, of course, capital, for small and medium enterprises, as well as the large enterprises, the Uganda Security Exchange represents a link between capital, people who need the capital, and also savers, that is the general public with savings to invest, allowing the investors to become part owners of these companies. So, in a brief, the stock market just represents how Ugandans, how you and me can be part owners of some of these listed companies without us necessarily going for a direct employment in the company, but just through the access of shares or equities via the stock exchange. In October 2003, the Uganda Security Exchange launched the USE All-Share Index, and a market weighted average comprising of all the listed stocks on the bars, which backdates to a best value of 100 as of December 31st, 2000. In addition to the all-share index, the Uganda Security Exchange published the Uganda Security Exchange Local Company Index, which tracks the performance of the domestic equities on the exchange, which I already mentioned are only 10. And in July 2015, that was one of the turning points at the Uganda Securities Exchange, where the USE implemented an automated trading system, a computerized trading system that would enable buyers to access securities via online platforms. And this, along with a central securities depository system, improved liquidity and trade efficiency by reducing the settlement time from 5 to 3 days. That's a brief about the Uganda Security Exchange. Now, getting into the market as of yesterday, looking at the top gainers, some of the gainers we had Centum Investment, who led the gainers by 0.27% to a price of about 308.40. Equity Bank Limited was also another gainer on the market, gaining by about 0.27% to a price of 1,245.08. And Nation Media Group was another gainer at 0.27%, gaining to a price of 544.32. Jubilee Holdings was another gainer at 0.27% as well, gaining to a price of about 7,821.63. East African Breweries Limited was another gainer after a long history, not history necessarily, a long trend of losing since the week began. I think even since last week, it kind of now gaining momentum, gaining by about 0.27%. To a price of 7,812 as well. Actually, 3,511.1.75. That is East African Breweries. Then KCB Bank gained also by 0.27% to a price of 1,173. Now, the bottom loser was MTN, losing by about 2.19% to a price right now of 175.22. Now, if you remember, MTN is the most current IPO on the market. That is the company that has just, the last company to be listed with over, just a few months on the market. It started with the price of 200, moved through 195, 180, and this morning it has hit the 175 mark. And that is a loss from yesterday of about 2.19%. That is MTN Uganda. Now, on the Uganda Security Exchange officially, they are several types of listings, including the equities, the treasury bonds, the corporate bonds, and the treasury bills. And the table, of course, now below we are going to look at, however, only represents the equities. That is the stocks. And these include a significant number of the cross-listed equities from especially the Nairobi Stock Exchange. Now, let's have a look at what the market looks like, from the close of the market yesterday. British American Tobacco, Uganda, moved the price, is currently at a price of 15,000. It didn't trade any volumes yesterday, and neither was there any changes in the price yesterday. Bank of Baroda, Uganda, had a price of 80 yesterday, and it has maintained that price at 80. However, yesterday alone, they traded a volume of up to 351,400 shares on the market. And definitely this action on Bank of Baroda could be due to the fact that Bank of Baroda is going to probably issue a dividend very soon, which is yet to be approved by the probably stakeholders and the shareholders in the company. And of course, they release their financial results, which we might review probably next week. But they release their financial results as Bank of Baroda and declared a dividend of about 25 billion, wholesome dividend of about 25 billion to their shareholders. So we'll be looking at if the shareholders will be able to approve that, but we can see some activity for Bank of Baroda on the market, at least as per the close of the market yesterday. Over 300,000 shares were traded in Bank of Baroda. Centum Investment Company was among the gainers, gaining by 0.83 cents to a price of 308.4. Now, if you remember, Centum has also been on a downward trend in terms of share price, depreciating over 5 days in a row, consecutive days, and currently it's gaining momentum. I think from yesterday, even yesterday, it was among the gainers on the market, and it's also doing quite well on the Nairobi Stock Exchange, as we shall see later on if time allows. But for now, Centum Investment, by the close of yesterday, was trading at 308.4. Remember, this data is as per the close of the market yesterday. But right now, trading is happening, and these results could change. These figures could change because of the demand and supply on the market. As you know, the financial markets, just like any other market, are governed by the laws of force, by the forces of demand and supply. So, currently, by the close of yesterday's market, Centum Investment was trading at 308.4. Down to Cipla. Cipla Quality Chemicals is another company here, very interesting on the market. But remember, it's the only pharmaceutical company on the market, on the stock market, and it has been doing so well on the market. And now it has stabilized at a price of 69 so far, and hasn't had any volume traded yesterday. Neither was there a change in price. DFCU Bank at 550, no volume was traded yesterday and no change in price. East African Breweries Limited gained by 9.35 cents to a price of 3,511.75. That is East African Breweries Limited, and there was no volume traded as per yesterday. Equity Bank Limited was another company that gained at 3.32 cents at a price of 1,245.08, and there was no volume traded as per the close of the market yesterday. Jubilee Holdings Limited gained by 20.83, which is, I think, the highest value of gain on the market, I think. Yes, it is, and currently trades at 7,821. Kenya Airways was among other gainers. I think Kenya has had a stagnant week, but as we close and wind up business for the week, I'm seeing Kenya Airways is also picking up with a gain of 0.32 cents to a price now of 122.27 Ugandan shillings. KCB, that is Kenya Commercial Bank Group, was a loser on the market, was a gainer, gainer on the market at 1,173 closing price, with a gain of about 3.12 cents in price there. MTN Uganda was a loser, the only loser on the market yesterday, losing by about 3.93 cents. And it traded a volume of 9,250 shares. And of course, the price closed at 175.22 Ugandan shillings. Down to Nation Media Group of companies, that also was another gainer on the market, gaining by about 1.45 to a price of 544.32. That is Nation Media Group for you. And New Vision didn't have any volumes traded, neither did it have any change in price, and traded at 160 by the close of the market. Stanbic had no activity, neither did it have any price movements, and traded at 22 by the close of the market. And of course, down to Uganda Clays Limited. Uganda Clays traded at 19 cents and did not trade any volumes. And Wumeme traded at 239.01 with about a volume of 297 shares. Now, let's look at the summary of trading. At the end of yesterday's trading session on the Uganda Securities Exchange, a total of 360,947 shares corresponding to a market value of 29,804,000 280 shares were traded. And compared with the previous Uganda exchange trading day, that is Tuesday, the 28th, the data shows the 32% decline in volume, meaning there was a little less shares by about 32% that were traded on the market, and of course an improvement of 11% in turnover. But however, the value of the shares traded increased by 11%. The current market capitalization of the Uganda Securities Exchange is 19.4 trillion. Now, what does market capitalization mean? For starters, market capitalization is simply the monetary value of all the securities that are being traded on the market. Yes? And in particular, here we're looking at the equity securities, the equities. So the equities that are traded on the Uganda Security Exchange are worth 19.4 trillion Ugandan shillings. Now, in the aggregate, the Uganda Securities Exchange listed equities participated in trading, ending with 7 gainers and just 1 loser. Centum Investment led the gainers, as already mentioned, gaining by about 0.27%. Share price appreciation closing at 308.4 Ugandan shillings per share. Equity Bank gained by about 0.27% as well. Nation Media, same, and Jubilee Holdings, the same. All these are cross-listed companies from Kenya. The only equity that lost value on that day was MTN Uganda. And of course, Bank of Baroda recorded the highest volumes traded at 351,400 traded shares, followed by MTN at 9,250 and Wumeme at 297. Now, these were the shares traded, but how do you reach a deal when you are trading on the exchange? Now, this is what the Uganda Security Exchange says. Before we had, several manual ways of trading where you have boards and you have all these stockbrokers making noise on the exchange, but now it's not the case. Right now, you have to just go to your stockbroker, probably online, and you ask that, hey, I want to buy shares in CIPLA. Now, it is the role of the stockbroker to go out there and find someone who is trading CIPLA shares at a price that is favorable to you. Remember, much as we have prices like 69 for CIPLA, like we have DFCU 550, not all the traders on the market sell at exactly the same price. There is a 15% window. Maybe you can sell 15% higher or 15% lower. That is how the market works. And of course, you bid, and you have a bidder, you have the one who is offering, someone who is offering to sell a share, and you have a bidder who is looking to buy a share. Now, when those two have the same price, we have a deal. The deal is when you have a bidder with the same ask price as the offer. Yes, as the offer is offering. So if the offer is offering at 69 and also the bidder is at 69, you have a deal, and then you buy, you exchange, you have that deal done by probably giving them the share, and then you get the money. Yep, that's how it works simply. Okay, of course, we're going into a short break. We'll return with another summary of the all-share index as well as the Nairobi Now Stock Exchange. How has it performed over the last 24 hours? We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.